validity on the off chance that we at any point need to go to preliminary loads of large decisions ahead for the time being shamed rapper P. Diddy, who following a few pretty serious claims currently faces seclusion in the business world. They likely don't have any desire to be culpability by affiliation. Individuals would agree that I won't uphold someone who did this multitude of terrible things to individuals. And what's more than reputational harm is the monetary hit he's probably seeing. So this will be an extravagant case to shield. We're investigating Diddy's momentum transactions, the expert connections that have been broken, the VIPs standing up and staying silent, and what's next for Diddy. So I think individuals are simply attempting to make a stride back before they move forward to see what heading they ought to head. Before we investigate Diddy's future, we need to investigate his previous P. Now 54 years of age, Shah Combs is known by various names from Diddy to Puffy, or Puff Daddy. He rose to distinction during the 90s as a rapper, in the long run a named chief and business person. Yet things changed for him last November when Cassandra Ventura, referred to freely as the vocalist Cassie, documented a sensation common claim against Diddy, charging he mishandled her for quite a long time. Cassie blamed Diddy for assaulting her, truly attacking her, driving her to have intercourse with whores, and in any event, recording it. The common suit was settled only one day after it was recorded, yet the harm was done. Different ladies recorded suits before the end of last year, spreading out comparative claims of being tranquilized, assaulted, and kept. Then, in February, one more stunner claim, recorded by Rodney Jones, known as Lil Rod. He created a few collections on Diddy's most recent collection, and he blamed Diddy for nothing new, and afterwards some asserting Diddy is the top dog in a sex-dealing realm. Then, at that point, on spring 25th, bureaucratic court orders were given at 2 of Diddy's properties. They were additionally looked at. Up until this point, we haven't seen any charges against him. I asked criminal guard lawyer Mike Corbin about this. Do you feel the criminal accusations are on the manner in which, well, I was unable to promise it yet when you're this far while you're getting court orders, things of that nature, apparently with each time the public authority makes one more stride in their examination, they're drawing nearer to the end, and you're drawing nearer to having charges documented against you. That is seeming like I have an assumption of responsibility instead of the assumption of guiltlessness yet during the examination that happens. And that is the way they set up it. However, despite the fact that no crook allegations have been recorded, Diddy has seen a few significant aftermath since the government strikes. And, surprisingly, before that, when the main charges broke, to begin, Diddy himself cut attaches with numerous organizations since Cassie's claims last November 1st. There's Revolt Television that he helped establish as far as possible back in 2013. A media stage, as per its site, is the space for the unashamed, definitive voice of hip jump culture, which incorporates rap and R&B music and civil rights news. After Cassie's claim dropped, Diddy ventured away as president of the organization, and only one day after the bureaucratic strikes offered off the entirety of his portions to a mysterious new proprietor. Then there's Cole's Wine and Spirits that cooperated with different alcohols, including Diego's Ciroc vodka and DeLon tequila. Diddy had taken care of showcasing for the 2 items starting around 2013 and 2014, separately, and at one point held a half stake in the items. Yet all that changed after the charges broke in a joint explanation to Embodiment magazine. Sean Combs and Diego have now consented to determine all debates between them. Mr. Combs has removed every one of his charges about Diego and will intentionally excuse his claims against him with bias. Diego and Mr. Combs have no continuous business relationship, either as for STK Vodka or DeLon Tequila, which Diego currently exclusively claims, and since these charges have approached, he has removed a stage from a few of them, stepped down as chief from one, for example, or sort of cut attaches with others. So how could he remove a stage from his own organizations that he served to establish? Well, there could be many reasons, and I don't think any about them are ramifications of responsibility. It very well might be things that he's doing to safeguard his organizations, not have them harmed by his standing, and that is not affirmation that he figures he did anything wrong or he's blameworthy. He's assumed honesty. He has an assumption of guiltlessness, which is the thing I'm putting together my responses with respect to, on the grounds that he is assumed blameless, yet he might be stressed over the standing that is out there and believe it's ideal to step back, let things settle, and see precisely where this is going, and keeping in mind that Diddy moved away from a few endeavors, different organizations distanced themselves from him back in 2021. Diddy established Realm Worldwide as per its site. It's a web-based business advanced commercial center Advancing, black-owned. Organizations it's like Amazon Prime, where clients pay a month-to-month membership expense and afterward approach the stage that works for certain 160 organizations, yet following the claims against Diddy, 18 organizations have. Sliced to with domain worldwide, including Suri, a skincare organization, Nudie Framework that sells underpants, and Place of Takora, a top-of-the-line style organization. Then there's Capital Preliminary Harlem, a New York sanction. School Diddy helped to establish. They cut attaches with Diddy back in November. After Cassie's charges became visible, Prime supporter Steve Perry said in a proclamation, quote, "Following an extensive assessment, a choice has been made to end the organization between Capital Private Academies and Sean Combs. While this choice was not made gently, we immovably accept it is to the greatest advantage of our association's well-being and future on the music side of things." Salo, who recently oversaw Diddy, no longer records him as a craftsman. I have a comparable inquiry for different organizations who have explicitly cut attaches with Diddy, so he has pulled back from a few, and afterward, others have backed away from him after the charges were uncovered. They said, "We believe that nothing should do with Diddy in light of the fact that these are a few pretty serious allegations. Is that a comparable motivation behind why they might have made a stride back? Totally, they presumably don't have any desire to be responsibility by affiliation, or seem to be if and toward the finish of this voyaging circumstance that he gets found blameworthy. Then they would agree that you realize we would rather not have that to come our direction, and until things are settled, we'd prefer step back than take any position, somehow would remain unbiased and continue on." Top of this, Hulu evidently cut attaches with Diddy 2, an unscripted TV drama named Diddy. In addition to Seven, was set to air on the real-time feature highlighting existence with Diddy and his 7 children yet after. The claims broke Hulu. Could the show at any point need to ponder that, since I realize in shows like that there are customarily contracts? Is it conceivable that Diddy could battle this, his program being dropped? Well, he could. It's extremely challenging in light of the fact that you'd need to take a gander at the agreements, since contracts some of the time are unmistakable regarding what your privileges are and what they are not, and when you can haul out of a circumstance and when you can't yet buy. I believe he's areas of strength free. With I'm assumed honest, and I don't have the foggiest idea why you're pulling out of this since we have an agreement. However, it's hard to get into the particulars without seeing the genuine agreement. While Diddy has seen a separation from a few organizations, he's actually engaged with some that incorporates Water, Hydrate, a drink organization that Diddy fills in as a load-up part and financial backer for. He's likewise still included was Shah John, a style and way of life brand that Diddy established back in 1998. And afterward there's Terrible Kid Records. One of the organizations that Diddy has not backed away from is Terrible Kid Records, which he established thinking back to the 90s and has delivered various craftsmen, including all the more as of late Assault Rifle Kelly. Once upon a time, Large E. Smalls worked with Mary J. Blige and a ton of elite big names. He has not ventured away from these charges, but rather might these claims at some point harm the fate of Terrible Kid Records? Totally. The claims could, in light of the fact that individuals would agree that I won't uphold someone who did this multitude of terrible things to individuals, and I won't uphold an individual who utilizes their strong situation to do that, and to hurt others and exploit others, assuming that is demonstrated at a preliminary. I need to ponder in this whether Diddy is all seeing any monetary misfortunes from these organizations, that he has various endeavors and presently a ton of significant changes in the past, last likely a half year. Is it conceivable that his financial balance is harming? Totally it. It totally doesn't, simply because of this. Is nevertheless, I am certain he is held direction, and as has attorneys and guard legal advisors generally do our own examination, so we need to enlist private specialists. The public authority has the police come who were paid by a compensation. However, you want private examiners on the safeguard side, and that emerges from pocket. And furthermore, the truth of the matter depends on the court orders that were given there in 2 unique states, so this will be an over-the-top expensive case to shield on the movement time alone, when examiners need to go from Florida to see what occurred down there. Afterward need to go to California to see what occurred there. That is a ton of time and truckload of cash that goes into that, and they're presumably going to require a colossal staff. So how about that? These claims influence future business transport dealings. So in addition to the organizations that he had proactively established, yet anything in what's to come. Is it conceivable that this could ruin his future vocation? Definitely, I accept it. I accept it could, in view of the way that individuals will have their own perspectives, not in view of legitimate limits of how you must have that assessment yet, As normal individuals, they could say, "I'm not happy here, Despite the fact that he was in control, I don't trust it. No doubt it could hurt him a ton later on. We could likewise check whether P. Diddy effectively returns himself on target to say this was off base and I'll show you it was off base, and afterward revamps himself. He constructed himself whenever no one first says he's not fit for remaking himself on the off chance that these charges don't stick. Observer the untruths. I didn't deceive you on that holograph. I guarantee the cover-ups. I could see his mind on the minutes they admitted. I snatched one of the kitchen blades. I killed unbelievable police cross-examinations. I realize I failed to remember the head. I needed the head you need to witness in real life to actually appreciate. Wow, regulation and wrongdoing cross-examinations buy in today. Simply an update that no crook accusations have been documented against Diddy, yet even actual. Why? We've seen a few big names reduce most, if not all, connection with H. In the first place, there's Ashton Kutcher, whose relationship with Diddy returns to the early odds, as per a source who addressed the day-to-day mail. No matter what Ashton's long history with him, he has moved away from Diddy since Cassie Ventura's claim. And, surprisingly, more so right after the new ones. Mila Ashton's significant other won't leave Ashton alone in that frame of mind of contact after these charges broke. Kansas City Boss's quarterback Patrick Mahomes erased a few of his tweets referring to Diddy. The two tweets date back to 2014, when Mahomes was simply in school. One tweet read a statement, "No doubt, P. Diddy and the other labeled a companion prior to thinking of him cheerful birthday." P. Diddy #F. Mahomes hasn't spoken freely about Diddy, and neither have a portion of Diddy's dearest companions, that is individuals like his ex Jennifer Lopez, who was truly referenced in Lil Bar's claims we haven't heard from Usher or Lil Kim, either, and Naomi Campbell, who's been companions with Diddy for a really long time, and as of late threw him a birthday celebration, cleaned her Instagram of Diddy pics and any proof of that party. A few others have sort of removed a stage from Diddy. They haven't remarked on it. However, they're not exactly on the side of him either. For what reason do you feel that might be that these superstars are keeping silent on this? Well, I believe it's presumably on the grounds that they are VIPs. This is being put over the media, all parts of the media, whether it's Instagram or TV or in a paper. Like an old-fashioned paper they truly read, individuals are examining it, and it's getting out there, and it's voyaging, and I figure certain individuals would rather not have their standing damaged by saying great on the off chance that you spent time with them. You probably been doing stuff with him and you should know stuff about it. So I think individuals are simply attempting to make a stride back before they move forward to see what course they ought to head. We have such countless individuals who are moving away from Diddy, from big names to business partners and accomplices with practically no charges recorded. Is it over the top excess for what they're doing? Venturing endlessly and done working with him? That is a troublesome inquiry to respond to. And it's a troublesome inquiry to respond to in light of the fact that not every person understands what the inspiration is of. Individuals are venturing away. Individuals could be venturing away for another explanation, blaming this so as to escape something they weren't content with previously and getting things done of that nature. So it's troublesome. And like you said, it's extremely surprising when a case takes this along, when you catch wind of it. Yet the majority of the cases we sincerely catch wind of are state situations where individuals are captured, and the charges are done. Government cases is typical for quite a long time to happen of examination. We've seen it in political things. We're seeing it with famous people where you find out about the examination, and it's like calm several months, then everything occurs several months, then it's tranquil once more. So it's really troublesome regarding where they're going on the grounds that something else could be, since something's taking long doesn't mean he's blameworthy. It could mean they're experiencing difficulty finding proof and that their examination isn't going as flawlessly as they naturally suspected it was, and it's requiring greater investment. So there's the two sides to that multitude of contentions without additional realities. Yet there are some who are voicing their viewpoints. One very important person who we know has been straightforward is 50% Penny, and he's truly emerged and expressed things against PD, as he's referred to. The R. Kelly narrative a long time back that beat R. Kelly's government preliminary, and he has said he currently maintains that should do a comparable narrative that he is subsidizing about P. Diddy and the claims against him. Now we realize that the narrative in the R. Kelly case was really cursing for R. Kelly. Might exactly the same thing at some point occur for P. Diddy. Totally, it could happen that way. Given that all that in that narrative is as a matter of fact validated here and there. And it doesn't seem to be some kind of standing battle rather than a legitimate examination of whether something happened. Is it conceivable that any of these superstars who are known to be companions with or partners like Ashton Kutcher or Jennifer Lopez, who is truly referenced in a claim that they might have been evaluated by bureaucratic specialist goodness, that totally might have happened? I mean, I was unable to let you know regardless of whether it certainly worked out, yet assuming they were. They likely are keeping up with their classifications since they're concerned. However, they additionally have commitments. On the off chance that they're not being denounced and they have genuine data and they're summoned, and under the law, they need to talk, and there's no fifth change right where they can implicate themselves, then, at that point indeed, they would be addressing the public authority. We actually can't affirm that the government examination and assaults at Diddy's house were explicitly designated at him. Yet we can utilize sensible derivations that runs after could becoming the pipeline, assuming that occurs. Mike anticipates a difficult experience ahead and a bustling timetable for his safeguard lawyers. What do you believe is happening in secret with Diddy and his guard lawyers as of now? Well, fundamentally, it's exceptionally. It's essentially as of now you're sitting with your client and you're attempting to see what went on. The grounds that each time you address your client, that is legal right to confidentiality. That is not something that the public authority can get out from you. It's not something they could tape while you're, except if, obviously you would never have legal right to privacy in the event that you're accomplishing something unlawful yet. To the extent that in the customary plan of things is essentially your client needs to assist you with getting the data on the grounds that additionally the guidelines of revelation are unexpected in bureaucratic courts in comparison to many state courts. They're not committed to give it to you until extremely near preliminary, so you truly need to set up your own safeguard on considering what the data is you can get, and afterward ideally that coordinates with what they're coming at you with. Since it's a bureaucratic case, it won't be basically as speedy as individuals expect as a result of the way that the public authority doesn't need to give you the disclosure immediately in the government case. Dislike you realize in the state situation where you get it in arraignment and things like that, so that will create setbacks on the grounds that as you're getting them, as the guard is getting it, they might need to say to court, hello, stand by brief. This took them 3 years to find. I really want somewhat more than a little while to get this together and set up my protection, so it will be fascinating to perceive how it moves at time-wise. I mean, assuming we're taking a gander at the examination paving the way to this potential future bureaucratic preliminary, then jury choice. However, at that point, the preliminary, I imply that could be weeks or months excessively, founded on these claims the observers. So how about that be extended too? Yes, and I figure it very well might be extended. I mean, it very well may be significantly more extensive than we suspect, since there's no confirmation that this is including P. Diddy. This could be an examination where as they come, they will find it's exceptionally strange that when you find somebody in an enormous, tremendous bureaucratic situation where there's cash included, they discuss this multitude of dispersions, things of that nature, where others won't get charged. And that could make it a multi-litigant case, and a multi-respondent case could require long stretches of time, particularly at the bureaucratic level. So what does Diddy need to say regarding this for the bureaucratic strikes? Diddy's group calls it a ridiculous abuse of military-level power, saying there's not a remotely good reason for the unreasonable demonstration of power and antagonism showed by specialists, or how his kids and workers were treated in light of Lil Bar's claim. Diddy's group says partially, quote, his foolish name, dropping about occasions that are unadulterated fiction and just didn't occur, is just a straightforward endeavor to get titles. We have overpowering, unquestionable verification that his cases are finished untruths. All we've heard from Diddy himself is in this explanation presented on his virtual entertainment in 2023. Quote, that's the last straw. For the most recent few weeks, I've sat quietly and watched individuals attempt to kill my personality, annihilate my standing, and leave my Y inheritance. Nauseating charges have been made against me by people searching for a speedy payday. Let me be totally clear, I didn't do any of the horrendous things being claimed. I will battle for my name, my family, and for reality. And at the present time, we've heard from him back in December of barely a year ago. He fundamentally said nothing more will be tolerated. These claims are bogus. I will demonstrate this. And so on. Yet from that point forward in 24, we haven't heard from him once about these charges. Is there any explanation you can imagine that he's sort of staying silent pretty much this well? On the off chance that I was his legal counselor, you wouldn't hear from him either, on the grounds that honestly you must express out loud whatever's more significant here, your life and your freedoms, or would you like to simply continue to pursue cash and hurt the validity, assuming we at any point need to go to preliminary. So you realize there is that fifth change right of quiet is something that should be finished to safeguard your client. I don't completely accept that it's great when legal counselors utilize that to advance themselves. Since they're addressing somebody, you realize you need to safeguard your client's privileges, and clearly the legal advisors who are addressing him are aware of that and advised him to hush up till we settle this. Yet, could this destroy Diddy as we once realized him? How about his standing at any point recuperate from this? Well, I accept on the off chance that he's found blameless, it could return. Yet, you realize talking as a legal advisor. I'm saying that talking as an individual, not the attorneys or in people yet. I believe it's be truly challenging in light of the fact that definitely many individuals will question a ton of things. Everyone's catching wind of it. Consistently, individuals are following it. So's it by the day's end, essentially, I would think, just in view of society, it will be harming to him, revealing for long wrongdoing. Thank you so much for watching Gossip Now.